Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Let's Get Social. Happy Friday. Thank you for all of you who were able to show up 2 hour, well, hour and a half earlier. Yeah, hour and a half earlier than what we were originally scheduled. I had a sudden change of plans, and so I'm so grateful for those that were able to accommodate. Because I'm really excited about making the top to this. And so this is LaShawn with Let's Get Social. And today we are going to focus on Know Me 2043. This is February, Black History Month. So we are going to again focus on Black designers. And we are focusing on Erika Bunker's pattern. Last week we made the pants, and I want to talk a little bit about how that went down. I did make another pair of pants since then, of which I'm going to try on with the top that we're going to make today. But we're going to talk a little bit about what happened on that on last week's live, and how when you make the pants, it does not have to be that way. I'm going to share with you some tips that I learned my second time around with making this pattern. Let's see. So let me talk a little bit about what we're doing with this pattern. So we are going to be making this pattern with, we're going to actually be making it with lace. There are two views. There's view A and there is view C. View A is with the sleeves, and I talked about last week that we would be doing a modified sleeve. And then there is view B, which is sleeveless. So because I wanted to make sure that we didn't have a repeat of what happened last week, I did make the view B, which is the sleeveless version. And what I will tell you is that they are made differently. Both are pretty straightforward in terms of how you make them, but just know that they are made differently so that you cannot suddenly decide. You can, but there are extra steps to suddenly deciding that you want to be a sleeveless versus having a sleeve. So what I did mean by modified sleeve is that instead of having this more flowy sleeve, that I wanted to do a much more fitted sleeve. That's more of my style. So I like that. And so I did pull in the sleeve of another pattern. I made two of just this full sleeve because it is a fitted sleeve. You could literally use any other pattern that you want, or you could self-draft a sleeve that is fitting your arm. And I had made this top before. I know how the fitted sleeve fits, so I just grabbed that pattern piece and I used that pattern piece to make the fitted sleeve. I do want to show you, so this is the sleeveless version of it. I made it in a lace, and it does look very, very good. I made a size 14, and this is a stretch lace. And what I will say is that I already cut a size 14. And so what I am going to do in making the second one, so the second one we're making today will have the fitted sleeve on there. I'm going to instead of doing 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to do 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, just to give me a little bit more space, because I felt like it was a little tight in the bust area. So probably if you use a ponte knit or any other type of knit, which it is calling for, let's see, the sleeves, with the top, it is calling for stretch knits, ITY, jersey, stretch velvet, and then you have to use the stretch gauge. Mine was a little bit shorter than that. Again, it fits really well, but I want and it gives me the support. So I won't, it has a lining in the inside, which is actually, you can make it to be like a shelf bra. So it can give you that extra support, and it does do that for you. So this is the sleeveless version. Again, the sleeves are already pre-finished based on the way that you construct it. And we can talk a little bit about that as well. Today, we are going to make the pattern with the sleeves on it, which is constructed a little bit differently than this one, and the instructions lay that out. There is some elastic around the leg part to give you some, give you a fit. And then the only other thing, which I didn't do to this one, which I'm not going to do on camera for the one we're doing today, is to add snaps in the end. I will be adding snaps. I just figured out how to use my snap tool. So I'm excited about that. So before we dive into the shirt, let me just show you the pants that I remade. I wanted to really get a feel for um, how simplistic that it is to make these pants. Let me just start by saying I love the way these pants fit. I mean, when I tell you I love the way they fit, I love the way that they fit. I actually will be making some more because I do really like the way they fit. So this is what we did last week. We did the Ankara fabric, the black and red fabric, and I did tell you that I had cut that fabric probably 6 months ago, and I wasn't sure about the sizing, and I made some adjustments to the pattern by cutting to make sure the pattern fit. Is I shrunk the seam allowance. The problem with doing that is that the waistband was still it gave me 1.25 inches more room, which is exactly what I needed for the pants to actually fit. The problem is that the waistband, which was already cut, did not have that extra 1.25 inches to be able to fit on there. There was not that much seam allowance extra in the waistband to be able to make that fit. And I do not have any more fabric. So what I ultimately ended up doing was basically going back and making the waist of the pants the original size so that I could fit the waistband on so I could finish the pants. So as a result, the pants are super, super tight, not comfortable to wear. So I did go back and find where I ordered the fabric, and I ordered some more so that I can recut a waistband. And I put some basting stitches in. So I'm going to take the basting stitches back out and redo the waistband so that I can fit the other pair of pants. Because again, I do love them, and I want to be able to wear them. And right now they just don't fit comfortably. As you will see how these fit, they fit much more comfortable. And the other thing that I did with these is that I did snaps instead of buttons. So I did black snaps. This was me experimenting with my snap machine. So I put 5 snaps. I'm thinking about putting a 6th one down here. It's very easy to do. But I did do snaps on this one instead of the buttons. Just again, experimenting. I was thinking about putting gold, and I ended up going with the black because why not, So anyway, I wanted to share these pants with you. It took me about 2 hours to make these pants after I cut out all the pattern pieces and put all of the interfacing on the pieces that are required to be interfaced. It took me about 2 hours to do this. So you all remember last week it took us 5 hours. And so to do, which I appreciate everyone that stuck in there with me while we work through the challenges. And so let's talk about what those challenges were. Hi, Miss Tata. Hi, Karen. Thank you all for joining. Hi, Aisha. Hi, Julian. Hi, Marion. Hey, Amanda. Kay, Aisha. Hey, Carm. I didn't realize I didn't have my comments on. So someone asked where was the fabric from. The fabric was from Afrique Clothing Store, I think is what it's called. I have to look it up. Afrique Clothing Store is where I went through. I bought it over a year ago. So apparently I had it even before I cut it out. I've had it for a while. Hey, Lala, welcome. So I went through all my messages. I was digging and I found the fabric. So I ended up ordering some more of the fabric so that I can go back and make that adjustment to those pants, of which you will then see me take some pictures in the pants themselves. This fabric I got from Fabric Wholesale Direct. I also bought this probably about a year ago because again, my goal has been since So Much Talent and Auntie Carol, her group started that challenge of like, use what you have. I've been trying my best to kind of use what I have. The other challenge that you all have heard me talk about is that I literally have been busting out the seams in terms of the space. And so I'm pretty determined to try my very best to not buy more fabric until I use a good bit of what I have, which is a lot. I have a lot of fabric. So that's why I'm using this lace. Oh, what happened? That's why I'm using this lace. That is why I am using, I don't know why my other StreamYard shut down. I'm using this fabric because, again, these are all fabrics that I've had for quite some time. And so I want to be able to use them. So anyway, I've got snaps. We're going to try this on. We're going to do another black lace top similar to the one that I did, but this is going to have sleeves on it. And we are going to wear it with these and pair it with some open toe heels. And the other thing I really like about these pants too is that because the front is, oh yeah, we didn't even get into what the problem was. We're going to talk about that really quick. So the other thing I really like about these pants is that these pants, the front leg piece is actually two pieces put together, a side front and a front. But because there is that seam right in the middle of the pants leg, it kind of gives you like a faux crease in the pant leg. So even when you iron them straight, flat like this, they have like this illusion of a crease right there, but it's not like a 1980s crease. It's like a 2020 crease, like a modern day crease. So I'm totally feeling it. Excited to put it on. The other thing I do like about it is that it goes in a little bit at the waist. So, you know, it's high waisted, but it also kind of cinches you a little bit. So it just has a really good look to it. I really like it. Like I said, I'm gonna fix the other pair when my fabric comes. It's scheduled to come tomorrow. I'm not gonna be able to do it tomorrow because I'm gonna be leaving out of town, but I will be fixing the pants sooner rather than later. And so we're gonna completely get into it. Okay, let me see something. That's interesting. Okay. Well, my other screen went off, but my other cameras are working, so that's fine. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get started. Like I said, we are doing view A, and we're doing 2043 view A. And the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to grab our two. We have one. I didn't even talk about what I also want to talk about. See how I'm getting distracted. Before I get into it, let me just tell you one more thing about the pants. So last week when we were making the pants, again, you know, it took us 5 hours. We were in it together and you all hung in there. The challenge that I had is that the fabric that I used was exactly the same on both sides. And because it was exactly the same on both sides, it caused me so much confusion in terms of which side to sew together. And so this is one of the things that you learn early on when you are sewing, which is that you need to mark right and wrong sides. And so I kind of got away from that because when you use fabric that looks different on both sides, then you don't really worry about doing it, because sometimes the Ankara fabric or the cotton fabrics that you use, one side is like really, it's either white or it's faded, and it's very clear which fabric is which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. Because I cut that fabric so long ago and I really had done everything, I interfaced it, did everything, had all my stuff together, I had it nice and neat together. I really didn't start looking at it until we started sewing it that minute. And so I was a little disoriented in terms of which side goes together. And as you all saw, I put it together, took it apart, put it together, took it apart, put it together, and took it apart like multiple times. By the way, I'm going to be editing that video to take all those put it together, take it aparts out, and put some timestamps in there so those that do want to follow it can get right to the meat of like, what do you do first, second, third, without having to put it together, take it apart, and deal with all of that. So anyway, that is really what caused all of the challenges last week, which is trying to figure out which side was the right side and which side was the wrong side. And it was further complicated by the fact that the pants do have, the front leg pant has a side front and a front. And so there was multiple opportunities to make mistakes. And I think I took advantage of every single one of those opportunities to make a mistake about which side it goes on. When I did the pants that I did, the black and white pants, again, they don't have that same issue. It is very clear which side was the right side, which side is the wrong side. So it was just about putting the pieces together. And it went, like I said, it took me about 2 hours after I cut out all the pattern pieces and interfaced them. Including, I would say, even including putting the snaps in, which was really easy to do, by the way, once I figured it out. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you all. And now we're about to get into it. We're about to get into it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we have this crotch piece, this crotch facing, and it tells us to basically turn under and create edge finish to the curved end of the crotch piece. So that's what we're about to do. We're about to create this. We're about to create this. And let me just see if I could turn this around so you can see me sewing. Y'all see my nice little plants back there? I got some new plants. I'm trying to be more outdoorsy. Okay, so I'm about to put a edge stitch in, an edge finish stitch in the upper part. And it's just really just, it's as close as you can get to the edge. So I would say like 1/4 of an inch or less, you know, however close you can get to the edge. You're just going to do that on that curved part. So I'm just doing that edge stitch in there. And it doesn't have to be completely perfect because again, it's no one's going to see this part. It's going to be right on the inside of your bodysuit. I guess that's what we're calling this. Yes. So if you can see that, that is, and then I'm just going to cut off these little, it's like a little hangover piece right there. Let's see if it helps for you to see that. Oh, where's the camera? Here is the camera. Yes, there you go. Now you can see. That's what happens when you have so many cameras, you don't know which one. So I'm just cutting that off. Doing that like that, and so that makes that fit perfectly. So the other thing that I did is, because I'm putting those snaps in, I'm not going to use that snap band. So they have snap bands that you can buy and purchase. I feel like I bought some and it's really bulky, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to put the snaps right into the fabric, just like how I did on the pants. So I cut an extra piece of this facing to go on the other part of the bodysuit. So this goes on the piece number 1, and then I think, which is the front piece, this goes in the front piece, and then I created a little facing to go on the back piece because I'm using lace and I don't want to put those snaps into the lace because I feel like over time they'll pull the lace. So I am going to be sewing this to the back end of the lace. So what I'm going to do is I am literally going to do the same exact thing, which is fold it under by 1/4 of an inch. And then I am going to stitch. So we're going to do that right now. And that'll take care of those 2 little facing pieces. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just cut off. Let me look at that. I'm just going to get this little end. Okay, there we go. And now I'm just cutting off those 2 little excess pieces. Again, this is going to go to the back, and this is an added step because of the fabric that I'm using, which is lace. Okay, so there we go. So I'm moving this out the way, the little piece out the way. In fact, I'm just going to clip it so that we don't lose it, because it does look like a little piece of scrap fabric. So we'll clip it and move it out the way. So then the next step is it tells us to take piece number 1, which again is the front, piece. I think that's this piece. Is this piece number 1? Nope, that's piece number 3. So here is piece number 1. So here's piece number 1. Piece number 1 is the piece that you are folding, that you're cutting on the fold. So you're going to take piece number 1 and you're going to open it up. So here's my piece number 1. And the great thing I like about this lace is that it is flat on one side and textured on the other. So very easy to know which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. But the way, again, to prevent yourself from having any issues with that is to mark your fabric right and wrong side so that you know, so you don't have any issues. So so basically what it says is with right sides together. So we're going to take the right side of this piece, and let me just put this here so you can see me better. We're going to take the right side of this piece right here, and we are going to put it up against the right side of the crotch. So right side to right side. So it should look like this. So you should be seeing the wrong side of your crotch piece. And you'll clip it, and then we're going to sew it right across the bottom of the edge. You're going to line those raw edges together. So it should sit right there perfectly in that crotch piece. And we're going to just sew right across the bottom of that. And I'm just going to put a couple of clips in this. Let's see. Oh, yes, I will. Hi, Karen. So we are doing Know Me 2043, and we're doing the top, view A, and we are doing it with a modified sleeve. So we're going to do a fitted sleeve instead of this loose sleeve. And we're also doing it in a lace fabric. Hey, Lisa. So again, we're going to do that stitch that's going right across the bottom. And we're doing it at 5/8 of an inch seam allowance is what we're doing that stitch at. Again, it's right sides facing. So the right crotch piece is facing the right front bodice piece. All right, there we go. So that is done. And then it's telling us to it's telling us to actually trim the seam. So I'm going to trim this down so it's not bulky. And then we're going to turn it over because, again, that crotch piece is going to be facing towards the inside. So I'm just cutting it. And then we're going to take this and we're going to turn it towards the inside like that. So now it is basically like a finished, because the inside is finished. And is this the right side? Lord help me. Yes. Yes. Okay. I wanted to make sure, like, is this the right side? So yes, so we're going to turn it to the inside, and then we are going to put a basting stitch just kind of to hold this piece on to the end, to fix it to the end. So we're going to do a basting stitch. Let me just turn that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the sewing machine and I'm going to baste stitch that down. So I'm adjusting my sewing machine to 5. That's my length of my stitch when I do a basting stitch. All right, one side down and one to go. And I'm just pulling it to make sure that it is lining up with the edge of the fabric so those raw edges are lined up. And the basting stitch is going in the seam allowance. So you can't really see it, but there you go. So that's that. And now we're doing view A. So we're going to put this to the side. This is piece 1 to the side. And we are going to grab pattern piece 3, which is the back. So here we go. So you have 2 pieces for pattern piece 3. And the first thing it tells us to do is to stitch the center back. So you are going to place these 2 pieces of your back right sides together. You're going to place these right sides together and you're going to clip them, and then you're going to do 1 long stitch down the back to connect those 2 back pieces to make 1 single piece. And I'm just making sure that I have my right side of my fabric. Yep, there's the flat side, and this is the raised side. I really like this this lace also because it's really I guess strong. I don't know if strong is the right word, but I was worried that when I cut it, it was going to just start peeling all over the place or fraying, and it didn't. So it's pretty sturdy, I guess is the right word. I mean, I can't use pins with it, but it's not fraying at all. Now, I did use, when I did the other one, I did use my serger. After I stitched things together, I went in and used my serger. Hi, Kiki. Welcome. Happy Friday. Yeah, so Karen, we did, were you on when we did the pants last week? I love those pants. I'm telling you, I'm sad that I took so long to make them. And like I said, I have some more fabric that I want to make another pair and do some gold buttons, the gold buttons that I didn't use the last time, or I have another pair of gold buttons that I'm thinking about. Oh, actually, I just clipped together the wrong side. So let me clip this right side together. So we are sewing together the middle, or the center back is what we're sewing together. So right sides together, pattern piece 3, stitch together the center back. And I said this before, but I'm going to just mention it again, that, you know, based on the pattern that I made already, I cut a size 14, and it's a little tight in the bust area, probably because I am using this lace fabric and it doesn't have as much stretch as like a Ponte knit or ITY. So I'm going to sew it together at 3/8 just to give me a little bit more room in the bust area. Everywhere else is perfect. Okay. No, I understand, Karen. Trust me, I understand. Okay. So, got it clipped. Unclip this. And we are about to sew. Here we go. Got it clipped. Center back is clipped, and we're about to sew it together. And so again, this is a great place for after you put that stitch in, that you then serge it. Or you could, you know, if you're comfortable with the sizing, you could just go right ahead and serge it. You can't use a serger machine for 100%, but you could definitely use it for about 90%. There's very few parts on this that you don't have to, that you need a sewing machine for. And you could really do them. I was going to say you could do them all ahead, but you can't. So, but you could use a serger for a good bit of this, for sure. The other thing I do like about this lace is that it does have a bit of modesty to it. So in the sleeveless version, I used lace for the outside of the bodysuit, but also for the facing. And it's enough, it gives me enough coverage that I'm not worried that you can't see through it. You can see a little bit of skin, but not anything that is, you know, that would cause you concern or make you feel like you need to have any extra coverage. Okay, so we've sewn the back together. You can see this is the back piece. I've sewn this together. And the next step is that we are actually going to right sides together, sew the front to the back. So we've already put together this front piece, and we're going to sew the front to the back. So we're putting right sides together. And we're going to sew the shoulders. I wonder why that's like that. Okay. So I'm just pinning my shoulders together. Mute. Studio. I'll be honest, like I thought because I'm here so early and I'm never this early, that I thought, oh, everybody's probably still at work. But so I'm excited that you all are able to still hop on. Here we go. Okay, so I have my shoulders clipped. These are my shoulders, again, right sides together. And now I am clipping together the sides because I'm just going to sew up everything all at once. So it's the sides and it's the shoulders that we are going to be sewing together. Now, as I mentioned, the first one that I did, the sleeveless version, view C, I use lace for both the facing and the bodysuit. Now for this one, I am using, I'm using a cotton, a ponte knit for the facing. So I'm just lining up those raw edges and I am clipping them together. So I have enough of this lace left that I'm actually going to make a dress out of it too, to take on my vacation with me. I'm very excited about that. Okay, so here we go. We got everything clipped and we are now going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch away. Stitch, stitch, stitch. Stitch the shoulders and we're going to stitch the sides. And I'm just making sure that as I'm sewing it together that all my edges, raw edges are lined up. And one shoulder down, one to go. All right, second shoulder done, on to the side. I feel like this, this top or bodysuit is pretty straightforward. I would definitely recommend it. Especially because it's very easy to do things like swap the sleeves out if you want to try a different sleeve, or use a variety of different fabrics, which gives you a totally different look. But I also like that it has the crotch piece in there. One thing I will tell you is with this lace, you want to definitely be, if you use lace or any kind of thinner fabric, you want to be careful that your machine doesn't suck it in. I haven't had any problems so far, but it's been a couple of close calls where it's tried. It's tried to suck it through that hole, and I've been able to catch it right before it happens. I'm doing this at a slightly smaller seam allowance than 5/8 just to give me a little bit of extra room. Okay, so we have the front and the back together. I am going to take this opportunity and go ahead and sew on the other crotch piece. Just before we move on to the facing pieces, I'm just going to sew this on. And so again, we're doing it exactly the same way that we did the crotch piece on the first one, which is that we are sewing it. We're doing right sides together. So we're doing this again on piece number 3. We're sewing this extra crotch piece on, and we're doing right sides together. And then we're going to flip it over onto the other side and then baste it. So you really could have done them all at the same time, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to clip this to hold it in place. And just do that nice little stitch across the bottom. Lining up those raw edges. And there it is. It kind of got caught in. Just a little. Got caught in there just a little bit. So anybody working on anything this weekend, sewing anything? Anybody sewing anything now? Or, hey Jay, welcome. Or this weekend? All right, I sewed it on, and now I'm going to flip it over and do that basting stitch down the side. So I may start machine embroidery project this weekend. Okay. I have, it's so crazy. Like, that reminds me, I'm looking at my sewing space, and I have my embroidery arm that came with my machine, and I have yet to even open it. It's still like in the box. And I do want to do something with it. And I feel like once I finish my space, which I haven't finished it yet, but once I finish it, I've gotten a lot finished with it, but it's not completely finished. But once I finish it, I feel like that will be the time for me to try to figure out, like, where is it going to go? Okay. I'm just going to stitch this because I realized I put in a basting stitch here, and I need to do a regular stitch. So I'm about to restitch this back piece for the majority of it. don't want my shirt falling apart on me. It's already going to be a little see-through. Hey, Lynette. You say you love doing machine embroidery projects. Yeah, I need to get into it. I really do. I definitely need to get into it. I definitely do. Maybe by this summer, I will have figured something out. Like, what am I going to do? All right, so that is that. I just needed to put that stitch in. Let me just check and make sure I did not do basting stitches in other places. Like this, it is. I was just over here just base stitching everything together. My flaws is sometimes I will forget to switch my machine back. All right, one more thing to check. Nope, that one's right. Is that right? Nope. All right, here's the other one. Side. So I'm just putting in regular stitches on both the sides because I originally used basting stitches, which is not a bad thing to do if you need to try something on. But in my case, I've already tried it on because I made another one. All right, so that's done. Let's see, that's done. That's done. And let me just look at this side. And that is done. Let me just look at the shoulders. Nope. So I just got to do the shoulders again. One more. And again, this is where it would be a good time to go through and just serge it all. If that's something that you wanted to do. Okay. So what we have done at this point is we have put together, thank you, Lynette. We have put together the outside of the bodysuit. This is what it looks like. This is the outside of it. Here it's got a V-neck front. And we're going to put this to the side. And we are going to pull out our facing pieces. So move all of these to the side. And again, this facing, the way the instructions have you do it is that you can actually make like a shelf bra because it kind of walks you through putting a piece of elastic down the bottom part once you put the facing together. I didn't do it for the lace because it was already like super tight. And I'm going to try this on first before I decide whether I'm going to put that elastic in. or not. Okay, so we have our facing pieces, and it is telling us to take our two back pieces, which you have, that's piece number 5, and to put them right sides together and to stitch them. So I am literally going to, let me see, does it matter? Nope, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to just stitch down the side. And again, I'm doing a smaller seam allowance just to see how it fits. Again, I'm going to try this on first because I know how the lace fits me because I made the other one in lace, but I don't know how this Conti is going to fit me. And so if it's got more of a stretch, then I might want to go to the 5/8 seam allowance. All right, so we have put this together. This is the back, and now it is telling us to put this back right sides together with the front. So the front piece is piece number 4, and we are going to lay it right sides together. Excuse me, right sides together. We're going to pin at the shoulders and then again at the sides. Or in my case, I'm going to clip at the shoulders and then at the sides. So I want to give everyone like a big thank you because I'm still, I'm still premature because it's not 100% done yet. But as of, I think the other day, what's today? Friday, maybe it was Wednesday, I did hit my minimum watch hours on YouTube. So I'm really excited. I want to say thank you for those I know that, well, for everyone really, because I'm appreciative of those that come every Friday and hang out and watch and learn and sew along, with me. So at this point in time, I'm just waiting for, there's, YouTube kind of does this little check and balance thing. So you just have to wait. There's like a little time delay. So you just have to wait for them to kind of say, hey, you're all good. And then you can request for them to do the official review. And then within a couple weeks, they let you know. So, and sometimes faster. So we'll see what happens. But I want to say definitely a big thank you to everyone who tunes in, and hopefully, I'm hopeful. I hear from you all the time that, when we do these sew-alongs, that they're very helpful. And so I appreciate that feedback. All right, one shoulder down, one to go. And again, I'm going to try this on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to try this on to make sure that, because again, I'm using 2 different kinds of fabrics with 2 different stretches. Again, making sure that those raw edges are lined up. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Lynette. Thank you, Aisha. Like I launched this YouTube channel a year ago. I think it was like April, end of April, I think is when I did my very first YouTube live. So to think that less than a year later, I'm already, hit that first milestone. Okay, so I'm going to go and make sure this fits right, and then we'll make some additional adjustments if needed. So hold on one second, and let me see, what can I do? All right, I'm back. And let me see. I know, look, Aisha, I learned how to do the little commercials. So y'all saw I had a little question on there for y'all, those that are on TikTok. I had a little question that kind of said like, hey, what event or what pattern are you most excited about in 2024? And so as you all are thinking about that, just drop it in the chat. And I'm excited to hear what you're thinking about. And again, it's still early in 2024. So that if you're thinking about an event or a pattern, there could be one that's just not out yet. So you could say spring patterns or winter patterns or summer patterns. Okay, so I'm not going to make any other adjustments to the sizing. I feel like the sizing is good, but I am going to end up putting in that elastic around the waist, because one of the things I realized, the lace, it sucks and tucks. Whereas this Ponte is so much more forgiving, and it's just going to stretch with you. So there's so much stretch in this that it's not going to give me the support that I want without having that elastic in there. So we're going to follow that part. I did skip it with the lace, but with the Ponte, we are going to put that piece of elastic in. All right. So with that said, we are going to now move to attaching our lining to our bodice piece. That's the next step. So it pretty much tells us that with right sides together and raw edges even, we're going to pin the facing to the bodysuit. So this is right side facing out, and this bodice is right side facing in, and that's what's going to let me put them right sides together. So, oh, well, Lord, let's see. Okay. So I'm just going to lay my bodice piece down on my workspace, right side facing, front facing up. And then I am going to, again, make sure that this is inside out. My facing piece is inside out. So inside out, yes. It's already inside out. And then I'm going to slip it over the bodice. because this is where we are connecting these pieces. So we're going to line them up, line those armholes up. We're going to line those. Is it already 6:30? Oh my goodness, time is going by so quickly. Golly. Okay, we're going to speed it up. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sew around the neck. Again, we're going to line up those raw edges and we're going to sew around the neck because we got to attach these pieces. So I'm just going to clip to make sure that the raw edges are lined, and then we are going to sew them together. Hi, Belinda. Aisha, I was so excited when I figured out how to do those. Carmen showed me how to do the commercial the first time, and then I just did that other one, and I was like, okay, look at me figuring out how to add a little piece in. I will tell you, I really love sewing. It's, I'm so glad that I have learned this, and always am excited for other people to learn it. Oh, you asked. Okay, I didn't see that part. Oh, I see that. Okay, I'm sorry, Lynette. I didn't even see that question. Thank you for repeating it. So the question was, what happens when you hit a milestone on YouTube? So there's several different milestones. The first milestone is there's three things that it lets you do. One is it lets the audience kind of I don't know, give you like little, what they call supers. So you can, like, when you see people with the little heart and the dollar sign, they can kind of give you, I think the beginning is like $1 or $1.50, and it goes up from there. So they can give you like little amounts. I forget what the second thing is, but the third is that if you have a store, like a merch store or something, it lets you connect that. And so that people can buy all kinds of things from your store. So like I have the Let's Get Social merch and social media influencer merch on a separate site, and now it would let me link it here so that other people, if they were interested in it, they could just get it. So that's what happens at the first level. And then the second level, when you get 4,000 watch hours, I have more than 3,000 now, and when you get 4,000, then you are able to have revenue from like ads and things like that. And then there's something else that you can do, but that's the next level up. So that's basically what happens when you, when you reach that first level, that first milestone. Great question. Belinda, I'm doing wonderful. I have a busy evening and day ahead of me, which is one of the reasons why I'm on here early, because as soon as we wrap up, I have another event that I have to go to, family event that I'm going to be hopping out to. So I appreciate everyone getting on early. And then I have a busy day tomorrow, and then I fly out for work because I have to speak early in the morning on Monday morning. So I have to fly out on Sunday. So it's a busy weekend for sure. Okay, so I'm clipping both the neckline and the armholes because I'm going to base stitch those armholes as well. So I'm going to do a regular stitch in the neckline, and then I'm going to do a basting stitch in the for the armholes. So I'm just go ahead and clip them while we're here. Now the difference in, I'll point this out, the difference in doing the bodysuit without the armholes, sorry, without the sleeves, and the one with the sleeves is that you attach, the way you attach the facing, you have a finished garment. When you turn it inside and inside out, your neckline and your armholes are automatically, what did I do with it? Oh, here we go. They're automatically finished when you turn it inside out. So the way you attach your bodice to your facing to your bodice is completely different because it allows you to have that finished the finished neckline, the finished armholes. In this case, because we're going to put on sleeves, we don't need to finish it, so we don't need to do that step that way. Okay, so I am going to stitch around these edges, and then I'm going to do a regular stitch. So right sides together, raw edges even. We've clipped the bodysuit at the neck edge. We've matched the seams, the notches, and we're going to stitch the neck edge, pivoting at the center. And then it says that you should put a reinforcement stitch at the center and then trim the seams, which we'll be doing. And then you're going to also clip in the middle. So where that V is, you're going to clip right in the middle, but not through the stitch line. So here we go. We are going to stitch this together right now. You said I missed that whole spill, but I'll get it from you later. Oh, okay. What the one about the milestone? Aisha? Happy Friday, Lavette. Welcome. All right, here we go. So when I did, the other thing it doesn't tell you to do is, does it tell you? Nope. Oh, it does tell you to do a top stitch around the neck. So I did do an under stitch on the first one, but this one tells you to do a top stitch. So just to make sure again that everything lays down the way that it should. So whether you do an under stitch or a top stitch, I would definitely recommend that you do one or the other. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I don't mind. I don't mind repeating it. So, someone was asking about, and I'm repeating it just because the people on TikTok can't see the questions either. Was asking about the different levels of monetization, and so the first level is, or the different milestones. The first level is you need, one of the ways is to have 3,000 watch hours and 500, at least 500 followers. And I was saying that the way that it works is that there is, so once you get those watch hours, it doesn't, you don't meet the milestone right away, that you have to wait for your, YouTube does like a little bit of a review, I guess, to make sure that all your hours are legit. And then they show up in this other category, which are called earned hours. And once your earned hours reach the 3,000, then you can submit, you can make a formal request to to officially like be in that first monetization category. And in that category, what you get is, or what you're eligible to do is, you are then eligible to have a merch store attached to your YouTube page. And you're also eligible to have your you know, the people that follow or watch you on YouTube to give you what they call supers, which are basically just like tips or monetization or money amounts at their own, you know, discretion. And then there's another thing that you can get, but I can't remember what it is. And then the next level is the 4,000 watch hours. And then when you hit 4,000, you can get ad revenue. And then there's other things you can get too. So I only know, I guess the things that I really care about are the things that I know the most about. But there are some other things that you are eligible for. All right, now I'm just doing my basting stitches around the armholes. And this will just make it a little bit easier to it'll make it just a little bit easier to attach your sleeve. All right, one arm finished. And I'm going to do the other arm. You're welcome. And I probably went through it really fast, Aisha, but if you have any questions, definitely let me know. So once I'm official, then I will definitely know. But at this point, I'm just waiting. Just waiting. So I mentioned this earlier, but I'll just mention it again that, you know, I'm doing a tight fitted sleeve. So I did pull a different pattern sleeve to add to this top. And I'll show you in a minute which sleeve I'm doing, because our next step is to add, I think, are we adding the sleeves? We are. Our next step is to, let's see, this all be, oh no, our next step is to add the elastic to the facing and the legs, right? Yes. All right. And I just want to look at this, see how this is. Okay. So we are going to add the elastic to, so here, this is what it would look like. So this is your facing, this is your bodice, and now we are, before we flip it, we're going to create a casing in here that we are going to then add elastic to. So before I add that casing, I'm going to literally clip out a little piece right here so that my casing, so that my elastic does not get stuck on that seam allowance. So I like to just cut it. I have to get some more of these scissors because I think they're dull now, but I really like them. They just don't cut. I used to be able to just clip them really quick and they would just cut through anything, and now they don't. But it's been a couple years. I've had them for a while. Since I started sewing, they were one of the first scissors that I got. So I tried to do that kind of cut aluminum foil trick, and I do think it helps a little bit, but it doesn't make it like it was when I first got it. All right, so I just cut like a little notch out so that when I create the casing, my elastic will not get stuck on there. And you do have a pattern piece to help you cut your elastic. So I will need to cut a piece of elastic for that. But before we get to that, what we are going to do is we are going to take our facing and we're going to turn it up. Let me see, does it tell us to make a casing, press under 7/8 of an inch, and then we're going to stitch at 1/4 an inch from the edge. So I'm going to pull this out all the way around just so I can separate it. And actually, I don't want to press it out because I want to create my casing like this. Hold on, let me see something. Oh, here we go. I was like, wait a minute. Is this not right? It is. Lord. I do this the wrong way. Okay, let's see. What's the right? Is this the right way? Why is this not staying in? Let me make sure this is right. Okay. All right, let me see. This is supposed to go in here like this. Oh, you know what? I know what I did. I basted it with the arms and I need to turn it inside out first before I basted it. I was like, why is this not turning right? All right, there we go. So I'm just taking this out so that I can turn it right side out, then baste the arms. Great thing about a basting stitch is that it's so much easier to take out. I was like, why is this not turning inside out? All right, there we go. That was totally confusing me as to why it was not turning inside out. Did you know if we watch a video on 2 times the speed, it cuts the watch hours in half? Never thought about that. No, I didn't know that. I mean, I guess I didn't think about it. It does make total sense, though. It does make total sense. I try, you know what I think? I feel like if you are, and one of the things I want to do, because I know if you're watching a video when it's live, it's a much different experience versus rewatching it. And so at some point, when I have time, what I would love to do is be able to go through all of my live videos and really just edit them so that it's right to the point. I don't know what impact that has though. Um, the other thing I could do is download them and just post a second version um, of the video. If you're sewing in real time, then this makes total sense. But when you are not sewing in real time, then, or you're watching it after the fact, if you're a faster sewer, then you might be like, oh, I don't need, or I get that, or I don't need that extra instruction. But when you need it, you need it. And so it's always helpful to give that level of detail when you need it. But I definitely didn't, I never thought about it, but it definitely makes total sense. All right, so that is out. And then I can, oh, no, I got this little piece. And again, another thing I really like about this lace is that it's not like, I'm not worried about it falling apart. Okay, one sleeve out. And let me do this sleeve. Okay, that piece is staying. And this piece is coming out. Okay. There's so many things to think about when you are, when you're sewing. And I realize like when I sew one live, that's one of the reasons why I always like to, when I have time, to make things in advance or to make two. Because then you kind of have, you went through it already. So all the little, all the little pieces of instruction that are helpful to give because you've worked through them when you've sewn it already once. It doesn't mean you won't, make little mistakes like this one when I went on ahead and just did the basting stitch before turning it right side out. Okay, there we go. It's all a part of sewing. It happens. I guess the more experienced you are, you might make less of these kinds of mistakes. Hey, Terrence. How are you? Okay. I think, is that out? Almost. I'm just removing this basting stitch here from my sleeve. Okay, that should be good. Well, the good thing is this, even as a basting stitch, this was not wanting to, wasn't going to fall right out. As much as I was worried about a basting stitch coming right out, it was not. All right, there we go. All right, now, so after you stitch the neckline, then you are going to turn. You're going to turn your facing to the inside. Oh, is this still in there? No, okay, that's good. Let me make sure I've removed all of my arm stitch. Nope, I got one more piece. I was like, why is this not coming loose? It's because I got another little piece in there. And then once we turn it to the inside, then you are going to line up those armholes and put your basting stitch in. But even before we do that, we're going to put this, we're going to put that, create that casing so we can put our elastic in. That is what we're going to do next. Thank you, Lynette. Thank you. Hi, Cynthia. Yes, please like. I appreciate all of the likes. Okay, here we go. All right. So let me just do a quick recap because why not? Okay. So once you stitch your facing onto your bodice around the neck, that's all you're going to do at that step. Then we are going to put in a casing. We're going to flip this up 7/8 of an inch, stitch around at 1/4 of an inch, leaving a piece open so that we can create a casing. Once we create our casing, then are we putting our elastic in at that point? We are yes, we are putting our elastic in. Okay, so it's telling us to press up 7/8 of an inch, but I am literally going to turn it up and then I'm going to stitch around all the way around, again leaving an opening. I'm going to leave my opening at the side seam so that I can get my elastic in. Oh goodness, time is going by so quickly. And I have 1/4 of an inch. Well, wait a minute. Before I stitch this, I'm going to cut all these little pieces because I realize they're going to obstruct my elastic. So I'm just cutting the seam allowance off at the bottom without clipping through the stitch. I did it on two sides, but I realized I need to do it everywhere so I don't have any problems. Okay, so they're all done. So I have 1/4 inch elastic that I am going to use. Hi, Felicia. All right, so I'm turning it up. It says 7/8 of an inch. I'm doing a little bit less than that. I'm just going to clip this a little bit more. I don't want no problems with trying to get that elastic in. It's the little things that you know from sewing and putting in elastic multiple times that it can get caught on there. So I'm just cutting off just a little bit of that seam allowance to make it flow through. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to fold it up. So I'm folding it up a little less than 7 inch, probably 5/8. And then I am stitching all the way around. But first I need to make sure that I move my stitch length back to 2.5. And then just again, you have to make sure that you leave a little piece open so you can get your elastic through. And I'm just going to put a little clip on just to make sure I don't forget. Bit. So I have my piece open and then I just want to stitch this again. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and match it up to my pattern piece that is for the waist. And you're going to cut 1, and this is 1/4 of an inch elastic. And then I'm going to get a safety pin and I'm going to screw it right through. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm in the process of moving. So I'm like, where's my safety pins? Thank goodness I found it. All right, so we're gonna move this out the way. And we're going to take one safety pin and we're going to clip it towards the edge. Let me find my opening. Clip it to the seam allowance. And then I'm going to take another end, clip my pin on there. And my husband has to help me so much with my measurements. He said, I have gotten better with measurements since I've started sewing. It has been one of those things where I'm like, okay, I've definitely gotten so much better. All right, so I am now pushing my elastic through. And so while we're doing that, I'm going to just talk about what we're going to be doing next. So we stepped ahead a little bit. And as I mentioned earlier, we are going to then turn this shirt right side out, basically the bodice to the inside once we put the elastic through. And then we should baste the sleeves. Or actually, before we do that, we can turn it right side out, but then we do need to put the elastic pieces into the legs. All right. Which the elastic pieces that go onto the legs are pretty straightforward in terms of how they go on. Because this is the last step that you would do that would be different for view A versus view C. So you're not doing, well, no, you do have this step in view C if you choose to put the elastic in. Again, I didn't do it for the first version because the elastic is so much tighter than this knit. It's got less stretch is what I should say. Hey Dee, how are you? I'm doing good. I can't complain. I was telling everybody I have like a really busy evening because literally as soon as I wrap this up, I gotta get ready for something else this evening. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a like rush to the next thing I got going on. But I appreciate everyone getting on early. So right now, again, I'm just pushing that elastic through. And then as soon as we finish that, even though we're doing elastic in the legs, it is, I would say, a little bit easier in that you don't have to create the casing this way. You're stitching the elastic on and then you're folding it. You're folding the fabric to the inside and then you're creating kind of a casing that way. All right, so I've got the elastic through all the way and I'm going to unsafety pin the other end, overlap them, and then put a little stitch across both. So I'm just going to lay them over each piece of elastic. I'm going to lay it over top of each other and then run it up and down the sewing machine a couple of times. To get that overlap. And I usually like to do a couple of rows, just like a reinforcement. All right, and then it's in there like that. And now you should not have any problems with putting this to the inside where it belongs. Ta-da! Finally, right? Okay, so that is what it would look like from the outside. And now this is where you should be putting you should be aligning those armholes and putting your basting stitches in here when it's facing the outside. And that just makes it easier for you to put your sleeves in. I'm just going to clip this to hold it in place. But what we're going to do next is we are going to put the elastic in the legs. Is what we are going to do. I know. I'm so busy. So busy. This was a last minute change in schedule. Last minute change. But you know, that's how life does sometimes. It hits you with that last minute and you got to figure it out. Okay. So these are lining up really well. And okay, so eventually we're going to put a basting stitch in here in the two sleeves. But before we do that, we're going to the bottom part of around our legs. And we've cut two, let me move all this out the way. We've cut two pieces of elastic that align with our leg pieces or the length of our leg. And we're going to place it on the inside. So on the wrong side of the inside, you're going to place it at the very edge and you're going to stitch it all the way from one end to the other end. This piece of elastic is going to go from one end to the other end on the inside. And then once you do that, you're going to turn it to the inside and you're going to basically do like a top stitch all the way so that the elastic is basically hidden on the inside. So that is what we're about to do on each side of the leg. That's what we're about to do. All right, so I am lining this elastic up with the inside, right on the edge, and making sure that I have my length set right. And then I'm just going to start sewing it. And you just want to make sure that you keep it right at that edge. And you're going to also do a little pull too, just to make sure that your elastic can get all the way to the other end. Because it's not a whole lot of stretch, but it's a little bit of stretch to make sure that it makes it all the way to the other end. I'm just kind of keeping it a little bit taut just to make sure I can make it. So I'm pulling the elastic, but not pulling the fabric, if that makes sense. There we go. And then I'm going to do a little back stitch at the end. And just like that, it is, one end is in. And then you are going to, like I said, fold it over to the inside. And then you're doing another little top stitch right to the inside. And that's how you're encasing the elastic. And it's pretty, I would say it's pretty straightforward. It does look fairly good from the inside and the outside. I was worried that it wouldn't look good, but it does. I'll show you, well, I'll show you when we're done. And I'll take some really good close-up pictures so you can see how well it looks. Now, something I might end up doing, I might end up seeing if I can go back and serge. If you're doing this, well, if you don't use a lace fabric, you probably don't need to serge as much. But because I'm using lace and you can see, through it to some extent, I feel like I might want to try to serge as much as I can. But we'll see how it looks when I put it on. All right. Hi, Valerie. So this is what it looks like from the outside. And as you can see, it looks pretty straightforward, like you cannot see anything. It looks very, very neat from the outside. So we're going to put the other one on. Same way that we did this one. We're putting that elastic, lining it up pretty much as close as you can to the raw edge. Oops. Close as you can to the raw edge, and then you're going to do a straight stitch. Straight stitch all the way from one end of the leg to the other. Oops. Oh, a piece of my fabric got, not my fabric, the thread got caught in there. My thread got caught up, so I'm just making sure it's okay. Nope, here we go. All right, let's try this again. Oh, the thread ended up not getting stuck. Okay. All right, let's try this again. And this seems to just fold over very easily. It doesn't really give me any problems. All right. Okay, here we go. Now to this other side. What am I sewing? Hey, so I am sewing Nomi 2043, and we're doing view A, which is the top, but we're doing different sleeves. So we're doing a fitted sleeve, and right now I am working on putting the elastic on around the leg area. So when you're putting that elastic onto the leg area, you just kind of line the raw edge of the fabric with the edge of the elastic and give it a little bit of a pull. To make sure your elastic can make it all the way to the other end of your fabric. And so when you're this close to the edge, you really should take your time to make sure that your elastic is being stitched to your fabric, because you're like right at the edge. So it can easily just slip out if you go too fast. So I'm just trying to take my time. This is really my first time ever working with lace like this, so I'm really excited that it is turning out. Because as I mentioned earlier, my next thing is I really do want to make a lace dress with this fabric. And I actually have some gray or silver fabric that I had got in this same lace for the Beyonce concert too, and ended up not, making anything with it. So I also have that as another option. All right, now I'm gonna do a quick back stitch. So the last part in this is again to fold it over to the inside, just encasing that elastic, and then you're going to do another little top stitch. So that is what I'm doing now, is just putting in that top layer. And that's what I mean by you definitely want to make sure that your fabric doesn't slip from underneath, because it's only 1/4 inch, so it's very narrow. And we're almost there. Do a little back stitch. Boom. And we are done with that. You said you were wondering where everyone was. Welcome, Jermaine. Thank you, Monica. Welcome. Okay. So this is what it looks like from the outside. If you can see, I have a little extra piece I'm going to cut off right here. Where I just folded it under a little bit too much, but here's what it looks like. So the bottom part is done. The only other thing that you would do here, which I'm not going to do on live, is you would basically be putting your snaps in. And like I said, I'm going to do these types of snaps instead of a snap strip, because the strip is much rougher. These are just, they're flatter, and I just feel like they're better. So I'm going to use these types of snaps, which I will put on later. But I wanted to show you, I kind of played around with it a little bit, like what they look like. And I have some black ones, like the ones I used on the pants, that I'm going to be using on here. So I'm going to use 1, 2, and then put them in the crotch part of these. Okay, so we're on to the last thing, which is to put the sleeves in. So I'm going to, again, just do this basting stitch around the armholes in the seam allowance. And then we're going to put our sleeves on. And then we are going to try on the pants with this top. Oh, Lynette, I was supposed to be done by 7. So with the goal to be there by 8:30. So we're going to be done in the next 10 minutes. And then I might be there by 9 o'clock. Yeah. But, it was something that came up last minute. So I am doing the very best that I can. So basting stitch is just about in. Okay. So now that brings us to the sleeves. Where did they put the sleeves in? Did they not put the sleeves in on here? Oh yeah, here we go. Sleeves. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, we are not doing the sleeves that came with it. We are doing the sleeves that go with Simplicity 69, 96.79. So as you know, this came with a whole bunch of different sleeves. This sleeve, this sleeve, this sleeve, and we're doing this sleeve, this side, which is basically a full sleeve. It's a regular sleeve. So that is what we're doing. It's a fitted sleeve. And again, I looked through all my patterns and I was like, okay, this is the one because I know how it fits. I've made that sleeve before and I wanted something that was just going to fit like a regular sleeve. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our sleeves and we are going to do right sides together and we're going to stitch down the side of the sleeve. So you're going to line up those raw edges and you're going to stitch them, making sure again your right sides together. Let me just make sure. Yep. So I'm going to put right sides together and I am going to stitch. So it should be 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to do 3/8 of an inch seam allowance because I feel like my arms are a little bit more muscular than they were before. So we are putting our sleeves together. And then the only other thing that I'm not going to do on live with these sleeves is hem the bottom of the sleeve. I will do that, after the fact. But I don't need to do it to try it. All right, so one sleeve is put together, and now we're going to do the same thing with this sleeve. Fold it right sides together, and then we're going to just stitch right down the side, making sure that those raw edges are lined up. And then I'm stitching them together at 3/8 of an inch, but because it's easier to go in and make them smaller than it is to take it out and make them bigger. Oh, so the Simplicity pattern is 96.79. 96.79. Let me just show you. This is not the right, this is like the drawer number, so it doesn't have it on there, but this is what it looks like. 96.79. And I cut 2 of the left sleeve C for view C. But if you wanted to do an off the shoulder or something like that, you could. All right, so both sleeves have been stitched up. And now, and again, the next step is it tells you to hem the bottom of the sleeve, but I'm not going to do that. Just trying on the sleeve. Again, making sure that it's giving me the fit that I want, which it is. So that's what the sleeve is going to look like. Oh my goodness, look at that. Ah! It's already everything I want it to be. But I am glad that I did. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's the design. Oh, and this on the wrong side too. But I'm so glad that I left that very small seam allowance because Oh yeah, I was like, is that the design? It is the design. I'm glad that I did that because I needed that extra room. I needed that extra room. Okay, so I do need to, so the next step is to turn the sleeve right side out, which is here. And then we are going to take the sleeve and we're going to put the sleeve into the shirt, kind of put it, reach into, so this is the bodysuit. You're going to take the sleeve, have it right side out, and you're going to reach through the neck, reach inside. This is one way you can do it. And then kind of turn it so that it's right sides together. And then line up that underarm seam with the seam, the underarm seam and the bodice. You're going to line those two up. And then you're going to clip around. And you're going to line up those raw edges. And we're going to clip all the way around. And again, this is where, because you have all these layers, it's helpful to do that basting stitch. All right, we gotta move, move, move. And I'm just clipping. Now it may be helpful. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to do a different thing, but it also may be helpful to do a basting stitch so that you can adjust the lace. I have a little bit of extra. It's not that much. So I'm just folding it over to make like a little gather in the, it's actually really not that much. To be honest with you, it's not even a lot. So I'm not going to do anything with it because I can stretch the arm a little bit to fit it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do because it fits perfectly. So very little. Do the same thing here. It is stretch lace. Yes, it is. Now it's not as much stretch as like a Ponte knit or ITY, but it is stretch. Okay, so we got that. I know, look, Monica, that's exactly what I'm thinking. That's exactly what a lace dress. That's exactly what I'm thinking. So let me know if you get to it before I do. I want to see your version. Okay, so now I have fitted that on and I am literally going to adjust this back to a regular stitch, 2.5. And we are stitching our sleeve on. We are stitching our sleeve on. We are done. Do a little back stitch. And the sleeve is in. One sleeve in, one to go. Let's see. We're going to turn this right side out. Let's see. Looks like I missed that piece. Seeing a little hole in there. Not a hole, but where I missed where the fabrics weren't lined up. See, that's what happens when you don't use clips and you rush through. All right, now I'm turning this to right side out. All right, and then I am reaching through the neck and putting that arm piece into the armhole, but reaching through the neck so that the right sides are facing. And then I'm going to start by lining up that underarm piece. And then just start lining it up all the way around. And stretching, I have to stretch my armhole just a little bit. To fit the lace. Again, not stretch the lace at all because it's already a little bit larger. Just stretch the armhole just a teeny bit. There we go. All right, I got it all clipped, and now I'm about to stitch it around. And then we're going to try it on. Okay, here we go. What is this? Making sure those raw edges are lined up. Do something. Making sure, hopefully I didn't capture a piece of my under piece in there. All right, let's see. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Yes, I did it. Okay. All right, so we have put the sleeves on. we are pretty much done with this top. So I'm going to go try it on with the pants. Hi, Tadri. And then I'll be right back. We're going to make this super quick. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. So this is the top. And again, you can't really, I guess you can't see it as much because the pants are high-waisted, but here's the top, made out of lace with the Ponte knit as the facing. Now, I will tell you there is a difference between the one where I use the lace as a facing. The lace as a facing, it looks more like this, but you have enough modesty where you can wear it without anything under. So it does give you good coverage. This just blacks it out completely. So, but I do like it. So these are the other pants that I made, the same pattern. So this is the complete outfit of, what is this? 2043, the pants and the top, a modified version. So here's the pants. I also did a straight leg for the pants. So it's not that wider leg. I did a straight leg, but I did snaps on the front of the pants instead of the buttons. But other than that, I really like it. I love the pockets. I can tuck the pockets in or have them out. either way, but I really love these pants. I love them, and I can't wait till you see the red and black ones when I get to redo them. But this is the top, and here's the pants. The whole. I might wear this tonight, even though I didn't finish it. I might wear this tonight. Anyway, I thank you all for like hanging in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all for hopping on early. I think I'm wearing this tonight because it looks better than what I was gonna wear. I know, aren't they so cute? Thank you, thank you. These pants, when I tell you these pants are so cute, this is the second pair I made, and like I said, I'm going back to fix the other ones because I like them that much, and I'm gonna make another pair because I found another pair of fabric. So anyway, this is the top made out of lace, size 14. This is a size 14. If you use Ponte knit, I would tell you that you don't need to make any adjustments to your size. This is lace and it has a little bit less pull. Definitely use your, what is this thing called? Make sure you have the right amount of stretch. But thank you. I know, I might as well, right? I still have to take a little shower though, freshen up. But I feel like I'm going to wear this. I think I am going to wear it because I like it. And it matches my gray hair. I just got to straighten it out a little bit. Yes, I have a family a family party to go to that I'm supposed to be there 8:30. I'm not going to make it there by 8:30. I know you like throw on some makeup and just pump it out of there. I know I need to do, I'm going to be on my way. I might be there by 8:45. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. I wish I could stay on longer and talk to y'all, but I'm so appreciative that you all hopped on. Look forward to the pictures. I'm probably going to wear this out because it turned out way better than I thought. Not that I thought it was going to turn out bad, but it's giving me everything I wanted to give. So anyway, I appreciate y'all. I will see you all next Friday. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you on Friday. Bye, everyone. Thank you.